statistics recorded between October and December 2024 for the 2024-2025 financial year. Let me first start by recognizing Wessels Morweng of the Northwest Department of Community Safety and Transport Management, General Asaneng, the Acting Provincial Commissioner for Police. Let me also recognize Honorable Wessels Morweng, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee that oversees the Department of Community Safety and Transport Management. He is accompanied by two members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Oliphant and Honorable Makakane. Councillor Madope, who is the Executive Mayor of Matlosana Local Municipality, Councillor Makate, who represents the Mayor of the district of the KK. Let me also recognize Chief Director for Provincial Secretariat for Police Service, Mporandona. Let me also recognize, I saw General Oliphant here and all other deputy commissioners who are here, as well as the district commissioners. MEC, we have our colleagues from the media. We have earlier on noticed that we are accompanied by our colleagues from British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC. We have SABC, in no particular order colleagues. We have ENCA, we have Newsroom Africa. I saw colleagues from the Kaya FM, and we also recognize all the other colleagues who are here from the media. This being said, MEC, I would like to call upon you to give us the statement. Thank you, MEC.
Thank you very much, Let me take this opportunity to greet the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Mr. Wessels Morweng, who is accompanied by members of the Portfolio Committee, Ms. Karabo Makakane, Mr. Oliphant, and also let me greet the Mayor of Matlosana, Councillor Fikile Matlope, and also greet Councillor Wendy Makate, who is representing the district mayor today. Let me greet the Acting Provincial Commissioner, General Asaneng, greet the Chief Director responsible for Police and Secretariat, Me Mporandona, greet the officials and all the dignitaries present here today. Importantly, let me send my greetings to you, members of the media. We are gathered here this afternoon to release the 2024-2025 third quarter crime statistics. As you'll see, when the figures are released, there are areas where a province we did very well in fighting crime. The statistics we are releasing today are from October to December 2024. It is worth mentioning that this period includes the festive period, which added more pressure on the officers. This period is inclusive of the beginning of the holidays, closing of the schools and the factories, and the start of the festive and traveling both in and out of the country. During this period, there is an increased crime incidents, which include robberies, burglaries, accidents, markings, and therefore calls for intensified policing. However, for the period under review, as a province we had a general decrease in crime. We recorded a total of 26,999 cases, which are over 1,101 cases less than for the corresponding period for the previous year. This translates into 3.9% decrease. In total, the province had 6.6 contribution to the total, to the national total. However, there are areas where we need to intensify our operations. Not surprisingly, one of these, there is the area of illegal minings. As had been emphasized before, illegal mining is costing the economy of the country well over 70 billion rand annually in gold mining alone. Added to this, illegal mining has other casual ramifications with sinkholes, the common immediate detriment. We are grateful for the successful operation in Stilfontein, where though the problem is not completely over, it had been significantly stemmed. Just as we are having a collective sigh of relief on the back of the Stilfontein operation success, another similar challenge reared its head elsewhere in the province. The Valumkodi operation had recently arranged 22 illegal miner suspects in Bujanala district. Of a particular interest is that the nationalities of the arrested are no longer just from Africa but from Asia as well. Of those arrested previously, nationalities varied from Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Malawi. Now, added to these nationalities, we have some from Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, and Pakistan. For the reporting period, we had 2.5 decrease on the contact crimes, 10.5 decrease on property-related crimes, and 2.2 on other serious crimes category. Even though there was a general decrease in crime, contact-related crimes increased by 2.3%. Malicious damage to property contributed most cases, which is one of 1,969 cases. This is 48 more cases compared to the previous year, which is a 2.5 decrease. Despite the reduction in crime generally, certain crime patterns were more prevalent in some areas. Bujanala continued to lead, particularly with serious and violent crimes, with Rustenburg appearing in the top 12 stations in the country. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda is a provincial hotspot for illegal mining, sexual offences, and all assaults. The district has both operational and non-operational gold mines, which contributes to the problem of illegal mining and associated crimes. The district also has a challenge of gangs, which are often involved in crimes such as rape, robberies, murder, and assaults and drugs, particularly in Matlosana local municipality. Ikareng in Potchefstroom continuously report assault cases and appears in the national top 30 police station for this crime. Reported crimes in Ngakamundurumulema, which include assault, murder cases, and stock theft. This is a similar pattern in Dr. Ruth Mompati, which also recorded sexual offences. For the total figure, 26,999 cases reported in Dr. Ruth Mompati in the province, where 11,958 were in Bujanala, 6,518 KK, 5,513 in Ngakamundurumulema, and 2,931 in Dr. RSM district. Although murder cases went down by 48.14 compared to the previous year, it is worth noting that Bitikong in Rustenburg, Mabatu in Mafike, and Kanana in Okni had reported more cases. There had been 10 multiple murder cases resulting in 24 deaths. Ngakamundurumulema recorded an increase in the number of murder cases. The province has recorded 146 rape cases, less than the previous reporting period, which is a decrease of 14.3%. Despite this decrease, Mabatu has recorded more rape cases than the previous year for the same period. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, however, still remains the provincial hotspot for rape cases. There had been 679 cases less in property-related crimes, with a 10.5 decrease. Stock theft remains a problem in Dr. Ruso Mumpati, with most reported in Taung, Pudumong, Khanyesa. In majority of the cases, livestock stolen in the province is sold in Gauteng. As we had indicated before, we are intentional in fighting gender-based violence and sexual offences. And I would like to express sincere gratitude to General Asaneng and the team for the recent successful convictions as a result of good investigative work. We have recently secured several successful prosecutions that include long-term and life sentences. We are all aware that crime fighting, though primarily is the mandate of the police, however, successful crime fighting requires all of us to work together. The Northwest Department of Community Safety and Transport Management, through the Chief Directorate responsible for Policing Secretariat, is committed to support South African Police Service in their endeavour to fight crime. The department will continue to promote the relationship between the police and the communities by providing support to community structures in ensuring that their participation in crime prevention initiatives is being assisted. Community police forums and all community-based structures will be supported through monitoring, capacity building, and funding of initiatives. This will include appointment of community safety patrollers in all districts in priority areas, targeting youth, women, and vulnerable groups. The department will further embark on engagement with key stakeholders to fight the stock theft in the province, which, as we will see in the figures, is one of the headaches in the province. In addressing the challenges of gender-based violence, the department will also monitor the implementation of Domestic Violence Act to ensure that there is no to make sure that there is compliance in servicing victims and survivors. We will also intensify community engagement, commonly known as Imbizo's dialogues, media campaigns, awareness programs, and partnership with community-based structures. This will be done especially in identified areas as per SAPS trends and patterns. In conclusion, the department is working towards full implementation of the integrated crime and violence prevention strategy. This strategy recognizes that socio-economic contributors to the risk associated with crime and violence go far beyond the scope of the mandate of the police. This includes multiplicity of risk factors which must be addressed collaboratively by all stakeholders. Furthermore, the integrated crime and violence prevention strategy seeks to promote the implementation in an integrated, developmental, collaborative, knowledge and evidence-based approach to the prevention of crime and violence in the country. Therefore, the commitment of all stakeholders, including community, civil society organizations, traditional leaders, business community, and public institutions in all spheres of government is needed to effectively implement this strategy. The district development model spearheaded by the Department of Cooperative Governance remains crucial for the effective implementation of the strategy. This is to ensure an integrated, multiple sectoral, coordinated approach to the implementation of the strategy across the three spheres of government. The strategy emphasizes the importance of integrating planning, budgeting, and mobilizing capacity and resources of government and civil society to effectively prevent crime and violence. I will hand over to General Patrick Asaneng, the Acting Provincial Commissioner, to lead the presentation on the statistics of various crime patterns in the province. Over to you, Major General.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. Let me also stand on the protocol, as has already been alluded. Without any waste of time, members of the media, MEC, I am going to hand over to Brigadier Ntshabele, who will do the presentation, which will be flighted on the screen. So I'm going to allow you, members of the media, if you want to shift your mics towards her, so that then she can start. As soon as she's done, then I will give just a summary of what she has presented.
Thank you very much, MEC, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, and the Acting Provincial Commissioner. All protocol observed. As already indicated, the crime statistics that we are releasing today are of the crime that was reported during October to December 2024. In the current slide, we are just indicating the broad categories of crime, how we classify it, the 17 community-reported crimes, and the crimes that are detected as a result of police actions. And as the MEC has indicated earlier, in that period, October to December, under the 17 community-reported crimes, we had 26,999 cases reported all in all in the province. And on the side of the crimes that are detected as a result of police actions, we had 3,978 cases. So those are the broad categories of crime. And in the next two slides, we are just indicating the actual figures for each and every crime in the province. I will not go through all those, but I will just summarize the two slides by saying that all the categories of crime, we managed to reduce the figures thereof comparing to the previous period in 2023. The only crime category that we did not manage to reduce is the contact-related crimes. And although we managed a reduction in the other categories of crime, there are, however, crimes that gave us a challenge. And amongst those crimes, we have the assaults, both GBH and common. We have malicious damage to property. We also have commercial crimes. So those are the crimes that we did not manage to reduce. But as I said, it's just a summary. The actual figures are as indicated on the two slides that I am referring to. And MEC spoke about the stock theft and the figures thereof. As you can see, although we managed a reduction on those, it was only a slight one with 17 cases. That on its own tells us that we need to do more as the subs and as the community. Now, there are crimes that are generally on everybody's lips, and as much as we manage to reduce them, as I go on with the presentation, we will also expand more on those. And one of those crimes is the murders and also the rapes. The rapes specifically because, as you know, they affect mostly women and children. But as I said, I will expand on those as I go along with the presentation. Now, the current slide is on the 17 community reported crimes to show how the districts performed throughout that period of October to December. And as we can see, the blue line indicates the 2024 period, and the other line, I think it's yellow, indicates 2023. So all the figures in 2024 were below those of 2023, as we can see. Hence, we had indicated that we had a reduction. All in all, we had 1,102 cases less than what we had in 2023, same period. So those are the 17 community reported crimes. And what we normally do as well is to indicate our top 20 contributing stations. The list is as we see on the slide, and amongst the stations that are appearing there, we can see about 6 stations that did not manage to reduce crime, but the rest of the stations, which is about 14, although they appear amongst the top 20, they had managed to reduce the crime. And I also need to indicate that on top there we have a leading station, which is Rustenburg, and I need to indicate that nationally Rustenburg appears on position 12 with regards to the 17 community reported crimes, which tells us that there's still a lot that needs to be done in that particular station. But we, however, also need to note that as much as it's high on the list and it's also high on the national list, for that period indicated, the station managed a reduction of 10.7% generally on the crime. And looking specifically now at the contact crimes, during that period, the contact crimes, we had a reduction of 2.5%. And all the districts except Dr. Ruth Sohomutsi Mompati managed to reduce the crime, except that one district that I've just mentioned. And when we look at the graph, we can see that in the month of December, we had an increase of 178 cases. But the good work that was done in October and November made up for the loss that we had in December. So all in all, for the period, the festive period, the contact crimes, we managed a reduction, except in December, where we had a bit of a challenge. And these are the stations that are appearing on the top 20 in the province. In this case, they are led by Ikageng, and Ikageng is mostly marked by incidents of assaults, both GBH and common. So those are the top 20 stations. I will not go through that list, but just after Ikageng, we have Brits, Rustenburg, Witikong, and Jouberton. Those are the top 5 stations in the province. And now looking at the murders, as I indicated earlier, that murder is one of the most serious crimes, and one of which is on everybody's lips. So in the month, that period of October to December, we had a reduction on murder cases. And in December, we had 107, 34 less cases compared to the same period in 2003. And all the districts except Ngaka Molema managed to reduce the murder cases. But for the province, all in all, we had a reduction of 14%. So for us to reduce murders, it's a good achievement, and we can only hope to reduce more as time progresses. Now, looking at the ratio at which the crime occurred in that period, we're looking at ratio per 100,000 of the population. In that period, 7 people were killed in 100,000 of the population, and we had 20 in rape, 6 in attempted murders. Assault, GBH, and common assault are the 2 crimes wherein we had more people affected, and that is explained by the number of incidents that are that were generally reported in the province during that period. And common robbery, it was 17 people affected per 100,000 of the population. Now, looking further into the murder cases, the instruments that were frequently used were firearms, which tells us that there's still a lot of firearms doing rounds in our communities. And after firearms, we have knives, in which 65 cases were reported to, incidents were reported to have occurred, and knives were used. And the causative factors, as usual, we have arguments, misunderstanding, road rage, and provocations as some of the causative factors. In this instance, we had 63 cases wherein those were causative factors. We also have a challenge of vigilantism and mob justice, and with regards to such, we had 25 cases that were reported. And furthermore, there were cases that were robberies related, and there were 19 all in all. And with regards to where these incidents occurred, in most of the cases, they occurred in public places, followed by residents of either the victims or the perpetrators. So, which then suggests that the victims and perpetrators in most incidents are people that are known to each other. There are incidents that occurred at liquor outlets like shebins and taverns, and with regards to those, we had 22 all in all. So those are the 3 main places where the incidents occurred. And the MEC earlier on mentioned that we had incidents of multiple murders. For the province, we had 10 cases that were reported of multiple murders. That is situations wherein in one incident, more than 1 person was killed. So out of those 10 cases, we had 24 victims. So that is one of the factors that are increasing the murder cases in the province. So that is the situation. In about 4 cases, we had 3 victims in each of those, and in 6 cases it was 2 victims in each. And we're looking at selected domestic violence related crimes. We must remember that domestic violence does not only affect women. In most cases, when we talk about domestic violence, the first people that come to our mind is women, but men are also affected. This is how the province has fared with regards to those crimes. We had 673 that are related to assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm, and 916 that involved common assault. Those are the top 2 crimes. Furthermore, we have 358 of malicious damage to property. But what is more worrying is that we had murders that were also domestic violence related, and all in all they were 17. So that is what occurred in our province with regards to domestic violence for that period of October to December 2024. Now, crimes against women and children, to be specific now, We looked at the murders, attempted murders, and assault GBH cases. And when we look at women specifically, those that are 18 and above, with regards to those crimes or those that were affected by those crimes, we had reductions compared to 2023 period. The only challenge or the main challenge was on the children's side, where we had 3 more cases of attempted murder and 1 more case of murder. So that is the situation with regards to crimes against women and children. And now we often talk about how liquor and drugs or substances generally have an influence on crime. The current slide is just to show how much of those substances have contributed to crime during the period that we are focusing on. Assault GBH cases, we had 721 that were alcohol related. In this instance, it would be either the victim or the perpetrators or both being under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And the rape cases that were alcohol related were 163, and sadly, murders, we also had 41 that were alcohol related. And some of these incidents occur at liquor outlets, the taverns, shebins, nightclubs. Of these incidents that occurred at nightclubs, shebins, or liquor outlets in general, we had assault GBH 425 of those. The rape cases 22, the attempted murders 14, and murders 21. So this is quite worrying, and we still reiterate the fact that liquor and drugs do influence the crime levels in the province. And going further, the contact-related crimes, I did indicate that the province did not perform well on those. As you can see, during that period, it was only Ngaka Modiri Molema that had a reduction of 7.7%, and the province had a 2.3% increase. And these are the stations that contributed to that performance. And unfortunately, we have a station that appears amongst the top 30 nationally, which is Ikageng. It's sitting on position 18 nationally with regards to the contact-related crimes. Now, the property-related crimes, under this category, we're looking at the burglaries, both at residential and non-residential premises. We're looking at theft out of motor vehicles and theft from motor vehicles. And lastly, stock theft, which is one crime that we know that it's something of very big concern in Northwest. And the property-related crimes, as indicated on the slide, it's only Dr. Ruth Sohomotsi Mompati during that period that did not manage to reduce such. And the other districts and province eventually had a reduction of 10.5%. These are the stations that contributed highly in the province, although we must note that some of those stations managed a reduction during that period, or actually many of those stations under the top 20. We need to note, however, that under that crime category, the property-related crimes, we have Rustenburg in position 6 nationally in terms of contribution. So, but we also need to note that they had a reduction of 22% with 119 less cases compared to the previous period. The stock theft cases, in 379 of the cases that were reported, cattle were stolen, and in 192 it was goats, and 132 cases involved sheep. And these are the stations that contributed the most in the province, and Rustenburg is appearing at position 15 nationally with regards to the trio crimes. Certainly the first 4 stations on the list, unfortunately they did not manage to reduce the trio crimes during that period, and they are Rustenburg, Hebron, Brits, and Mohase. Now, looking at the stations in the province with regards to those trio crimes specifically, car hijackings, most of the hijackings were reported in Rustenburg, And all the stations that are listed under hijackings are in Bojanala district. So a whole lot needs to be done with regards to reducing hijackings in that district. If we reduce hijackings in Bojanala district, then we will manage a good reduction for the entire province. And with regards to robberies at non-residential premises, there we have a medley of stations from different districts, but Bojanala still dominates the list. And robberies at residential premises, the same applies. We have stations that are in other districts as well. But I can just summarize by saying that the biggest problem with regards to the trio crimes is in Bojanala. Those were the 17 community reported crimes. Now looking at the crimes that are detected as a result of police actions, here we must remember that the police are expected to increase the arrests that were made. They must increase the number of arrests that they made compared to the previous period, that is 2023, sorry. So during the October to December 2024 period, all the districts in the province managed to increase, which then translates into the province doing well in that crime category. And these are the stations with regards to how they contributed. So it's a positive picture, as we can see. It's only Hebron that had 6 cases less, but the rest of the stations that are appearing in there indicate that a whole lot of efforts were made in arresting suspects of drug-related crimes and the other crimes that are appearing under that crime grouping. And we also had cases of kidnapping, but in this slide we're only focusing on those that in which ransom was demanded. All in all, we looked at 184 cases, and in 20 cases ransom was demanded, and there were 4 that involved extortion and none on human trafficking. And with regards to the current slide of core diversion, here we're looking at incidents that are occurring in the province that divert us from our core business of crime. And these incidents involve labor-related matters, others are on service deliveries, others are on sports and recreations. And as the police, we need to be there to police such. Some of them unrest, some of them are peaceful. So all in all, we have 41 unrest situations in the province that we had to police, and we had 39 that were peaceful. And what we need to note, and also to work on as the police, looking at the current slide, we should note that of all the provinces in the country, it is only Northwest that had an increase on unrest situation, or wherein we had more unrest situations than peaceful ones, which then suggests that a lot of resources or more resources were also diverted to those situations for policing purposes, to ensure that there's no damage to essential infrastructure, there are no injuries or other crimes that usually occur during such. So it is of a concern, and going forward we hope that issues of service delivery will be attended to and will reduce our need to attend to such unrest. And we now moving on to the next slide, which just shows us how our stations fared during that period in comparison to other stations nationally and the positions that they occupy. On the shaded part, I think it's orange, we're just indicating the national position of the stations in our province. And I think on assaults we can just note quickly that Ikageng was in position 5 nationally, which is concerning. Attempted sexual offences, we have position 2 occupied by Mabatu nationally, and the contact sexual offences Ikageng on position 3 nationally. I'm just pointing out those that occupy the high positions in the country. The others, yes, they are there, but of concern mostly are those that occupy positions that are below 10.